search for the easiest, laziest, high-paying jobs. And guess what? Some of these jobs pay up to $44 an hour. I'm talking overnights, email support, and no phones. Now, I've done the resumes for you, and they're already in your portal. So all you have to do is go and apply for these jobs. Let's hop right in because these won't last long. So our first opportunity is going to be for Hims and Hers. Now, you guys have heard of them. They are the leading health and wellness platform. You probably already use their hair products or their skin products. Now, they are hiring for a specialist in operations. Now, I am looking at all of you people that have worked in either delivery, or maybe you've worked in Amazon factories, or maybe you've done something for FedEx or UPS where you had to work in logistics. So essentially, this job is going to report to the manager of wholesale operations, although this is a fully remote opportunity. Now, you're going to ensure the on-time and fulfillment of all retail orders. Now, what I love about this job is this is a no phones job. You are simply reading, okay? If you can read, you should be applying for this job. You are simply reviewing the orders for accuracy, the quantities, and the inventory availability. Right? And you document any concerns that you have with the wholesale operations manager. Now, you're going to track the retail orders from shipment through delivery and keep a record of the BOL, the POD, which is proof of delivery, to help address vendor chargebacks as efficiently as possible. So if someone is claiming that they never received something or it never arrived and they issue a chargeback, you could say, hey, I personally have researched this and we see that it was actually delivered and we took a picture of that delivery, things of that nature. Some of you guys drive for Uber and Lyft, and you know how those deliveries can be, right? So if you've ever worked in operations or a supply chain, Amazon, UPS, any type of delivery, any type of logistics, I don't care if you were a dispatcher, this is a job that you should absolutely be applying for, okay? Now let's get into the benefits here because they have a competitive salary and equity, which we always talk about is free stock, free money, additionally available to you. Now this is going to be for the US based candidates. And when we talk about the salary, it's 70 to 75,000 guys. That's about 30 to 34, $35 an hour for you to essentially be an inventory specialist. Okay. So I need you to apply for this like ASAP. The resumes have already been done for you. Now let's look at our next opportunity. Now, our next opportunity is going to be for Abnormal. If you've never heard of Abnormal Security, they are a cybersecurity company that's here to just make the world a little bit safer. So what they're looking for is a security analyst to work the weekend overnight shift. For all of you people that have been saying, Jazzy, I need something to do after my first job, well, here you go. Essentially, they want you to do operational tasks such as handling high volume intake queues or labeling data. Now, this is a no phones role. So essentially you are going to check for things like emails that may be fishy, that may be spammy. You're going to support the investigation efforts across critical issues, and you're going to learn about email fraud attack strategies and patterns to prevent an event from happening. So they're looking for someone to work overnight from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's okay if you've got less than a year of experience. And while they say that it typically requires a bachelor's degree or you to be working towards one, there are pretty much overlooking that for people that have some sort of experience with ticket support, help desk support. If you've got experience or familiarity with Zoom, which we all have, and G Suite, which is those Google applications, right? Now, this job is going to ultimately pay $20 an hour. So this is a great job for just a second job for those of you that are a little bit more beginner friendly. If that's something that you're looking for, I would definitely be encouraging you to apply for this. Some of their roles come with a bonus, as well as restricted stock units, which I always talk about is more money in the company. And this job is probably not going to last super long. I would apply for this ASAP ASAP. The resumes are already done for you. Now, our next job comes highly requested. Okay. Now, before we get into this, it says New York. Okay. But Noom is a remote friendly company. You're going to see down here at the bottom that if you want to work in an office, you've got to be in New York or Princeton, New Jersey. But they have also opened this to remote locations throughout the United States. So if you don't live in those two locations, you would just simply be working remotely. But let's talk about this APAR specialist, which is it stands for accounts payable and accounts receivable specialist. So essentially, they're going to manage all aspects of the accounts that are due to them, as well as the accounts that have to be paid out to them, which may be paid to vendors or owed by vendors or owed by customers. So a lot of you guys have already worked in collections. You understand what the collections process looks like. You know what vendor invoices look like. And you've also dealt with things related to checks and ACH transfers, maybe even wire payments. All right. So the job is going to entail you resolving discrepancies and issues with any vendors that may have questions or concerns about what they owe you or what the company, would owe them. So let's talk about what this is ultimately going to pay. Because like I said, a lot of you have already done the collections thing, and some of you are only making $15, $20 an hour with that. And I wanted to show you a job that paid a lot more. Okay. And by the way, this is where the company Noom, that's like the health company that helps people like lose weight and stay in shape and that sort of stuff. So a lot of you probably already use the Noom app, but how much do they pay? Well, let's scroll down here to the bottom and see what they pay, because the pay is actually pretty good. $64,000 to $86,000 per year. Okay. So that's going to be somewhere around $32 to about $43 an hour in the salary pay range. Okay. So mid-range, probably somewhere around 72, 74. So about $33, $34 an hour for those of you that have some sort of accounts payable or receivables or collections experience or even billing support experience. So again, $64,000 to $86,000 a year to do collections and billing support. Guys, you need to be jumping on this ASAP. And again, this is open to those of you that live throughout the United States if you choose not to work out of the New York offices. So our next opportunity is going to be for a risk specialist in the order experience. Okay. This is with Amazon, right? So if you guys have ever ordered something off of Amazon and you notice that whatever arrived at your door, it just wasn't what it looked like in the picture, or it wasn't described the same way as what the seller tried to give to you. So if you ordered a PlayStation 5 off of Amazon and they sent you an Atari, that would kind of be an issue. So this would be the team that would essentially address that and to make sure that they are mitigating risk. So it says, as a risk specialist, you will be expected to identify gaps and mitigate risk observed in the current mechanisms and policies and provide recommendations. So we want to make sure that sellers are updating the description the way it's supposed to be updated. We want to make sure that these are coming from reputable companies, that there isn't some kind of scammy company that's out there trying to ultimately sell products. So you're going to do a lot, as it says here, to protect the buyer's trust without harming the selling partners, right? So you're kind of like an advocate for both sides. Now, this particular job requires you to be able to maintain an assortment of records and reports. Again, if somebody claims that they received the wrong item or that it wasn't described properly, or that, there's some sort of issue with what's being displayed on the website, things of that nature. So this job ultimately pays somewhere between the $50K to $107K. This is going to ultimately depend on if you've got experience with any sort of risk, any sort of potential research related jobs where maybe you had to do some sort of compliance. Maybe you've had to work in an Amazon fulfillment shop and you had to be the person that's like organizing a lot of those things, and you've already got experience in managing risk or different risk models. So again, the resumes have already been done for you. And just as a gentle reminder, Underdog is still hiring for their customer support associate. This is for their social media channels. Okay. For those of you that don't want phones. And again, the night shift is still available on their fraud and payments team for those of you that are looking for more night shift work. And this is going to go from 65 to 72,000 per year. So up to about $35, $36 an hour. So you guys need to be applying for this stuff like yesterday. Okay. And again, make sure you're watching those interview videos so that you can prep, because these jobs sometimes will reach out to you within a day or two. So make sure you stay ready, because if you stay ready, you never ever have to get ready. Oh,